another coach will go in there, but you got two guys that aren't living up to that contract. You can't really bring in much other help. Like, what are you going to do there? Yes, they might have been missing J.J. Redick with the three-point ability, but Korkmaz isn't a bad player. They just didn't have it in general. I like Josh Richardson.
Yep.
But again, maybe a coaching thing will help, but I just don't see it. And I think eventually, whether it's this offseason or next, they're going to have to make a decision. Is it going to be Ben or is it going to be Joel? One of them is going to have to bounce.
Do you think either of them is the guy, though? That's the question.
Here's the thing, and I got into this argument with a friend the other day. I think Ben Simmons obviously can't shoot.
And that limits him as a non-big.
As a non-big.
Yeah.
He's a solid defender. His athleticism, his vision with the ball is very, very good. He's got stuff that, again, can he correct the shot? Can he make it better? We see the videos. You don't know. Again, it's one of those things that I think Embiid next to Anthony Davis might be one of the most dominant big men in the game. But like I said, I don't know what you do in that situation because, like I said, I don't see Embiid being that guy either. So they're in a stuck situation. I would probably keep Embiid because he's got better talent overall, but his attitude's garbage.
Yeah. Okay, so a question, because you said you compared him to Kyrie and to Love. Would you say the same about Anthony Davis? I know that he hasn't been the lone guy, but would you say Anthony Davis without LeBron? If you were to swap Anthony Davis with Embiid right now, do you think it's much of a difference?
But here's the thing. I think I disagree in a sense because Anthony Davis, his injuries were a bit of a hindrance.
Same with Joel and Ben.
I don't think he ever had the
questions.
Not the questions. The squad around him to be doing what with it. I think if you had another star player, again, you can say that Drew Holiday is what he is, but the Pelicans teams were never built to really be contenders. It was mostly Davis and a little bit of Drew here and there. But again, Drew was a good player, wasn't really an all-star level player. Had you given, even if you paired him up, let's say if Davis had paired up and Zion ends up being what he's supposed to be, and you pair them up at power forward and at center, that would have been a huge.
Do you think it's a better situation than Philly's situation now?
Yes, because I think Davis is better than Embiid, and I think Zion, if he can actually
stay
on the court, he's probably got a better quote unquote game than Simmons at times because his shooting's a little bit better.
They're actually similar players if you think about it. The vision, the size, maybe not the defending yet, but
yeah. So the situation there, and then I think Anthony Davis needs to get cut a little bit more slack simply on the fact that he hasn't been given that opportunity. And again, we haven't seen much of him. I think he had that one thing in the playoffs where he gave Golden State. He gave him a couple of games. So that was literally almost a one-man show. So I think it's a little bit different. I don't know. I know you're a big Joel guy. I don't see it. I don't see him being the major piece in winning something. I think it's his attitude. I don't know.
It's tough. The only thing I agree, and I think that his mentality is the biggest thing. I had listened to a podcast and they talked about his weight issues when he had come up, and then he was dealing with a bit of depression. His brother got killed either in his rookie or second year, and then it led to stuff. But like we talked about before, you brought up Paul George and stuff. I can only judge you based on the player that you are on the court, regardless of what happens outside of life. You know what I mean? And we've seen great games from him. We've seen Hall of Famer talent from him. Mm-hmm. But like you talk about the makeup, the leadership, the weight issue, there's a lot of questions with him that we haven't seen with other guys. And you're having to say, can you bring the basics? Things that should be basics.
I mean, let's be real. At the end of the day, we can call a spade a spade. That the Raptors series last year. I mean, man for man, if everyone played to their capabilities,
Philly's a better team.
And I'll be the first to tell you that because if you look at it, you had
Jimmy Butler,
you had Joel, Jimmy, you had Simmons, you had Harris. You had Richardson,
JJ.
You had
guys,
if everybody played to their capabilities last year, and I don't know if he had the gastro stuff or whatever the heck he had. He had a couple of good games, but he was Mark. Mark gave him a bagel earlier this year too.
Yeah, he did.
He's had some bad, really rough games where you think he's a dominant guy, but he's not, and that's what the difference was. The Raptors had the one guy or a couple of guys later on in the series that really dominated, while the main Philly guys at times just came and went. I think Philly probably at capabilities should have won that series last year, but they didn't based on the fact that you lose Jimmy, you sign Harris,
Tobias, which
and then it wasn't a good situation.
And I've talked about this in all kinds of sports, and I always, for whatever. This was my first analogy from years ago. St. Louis Cardinals when they let Pujols walk to go to Anaheim to $270 million. Anaheim still hasn't really recovered from that, and he's never been the same guy. You should have let Tobias walk. If Jimmy, because Jimmy's the guy that if they had Jimmy Butler on this team, you don't have Tobias Harris. Jimmy Butler wanted a new coach. Fire Brett Brown. Look where you are now. Now you're in a different situation. You're a year later, contracts, whatever, guys injured, people upset, coach now fired. When maybe if you looked at Jimmy and said, hey, you want the max? We'll give it to you.
See,
you want a new coach? We'll give it to you. And you know that something could work and is likely to work.
See, I don't think that would have worked in one sense because, one, we already know how Jimmy is with some of the younger guys. Jimmy, again, was a problem in Minnesota with Wiggins and with Towns.
Miami's a young team.
They are, but Jimmy's the leader. And I think that he's the best player, even with Obama's coming up. I think that's a bit of a difference. I think Jimmy wants that he doesn't want to be a second or third guy, whatever you consider him with Simmons or whatever. He doesn't want to be a guy along for the ride. I think Jimmy wanted his own team, so I don't think he would have stayed either way. There was also those issues that I think they were having some problems with, whether it was with Brett Brown. Him and Embiid, like that would have clashed. At one point, that would have blown up. Just because you can tell that I mean, Joel's getting into the fights with Shake Middleton.
Shake
Milton. It's that would not have worked long term. I think that's their issue. And again, he's the anchor of the franchise. I don't know what you do. They can't do much in free agency.
That's what I mean. So Elton Brand, loved him as a player, Clippers guy. People praised him the first year in because the Colangelo issue was another problem. They gave it to Brand. So Brand went out. I'm almost certain it was him. Went out, traded like 2 first-round picks. One of them was like a top 3 or top 5 pick to go out and get Tobias Harris in a deadline deal when he had 3 months left on his contract. Why? I need to know why. You had J.J. Butler. You had Simmons, Embiid, Korkmaz, Jimmy Butler. What do you need to go get another guy that's going to get you 15 points, can't dribble to save his life, can't really defend? Like, I'm not here to we're talking about trying to win a championship. And the growth that Tobias Harris has shown from being like the 18th pick in the draft, it's great. You know what I mean? And
sure.
Get your money somewhere else. But if you're a team that's looking, you have championship aspirations, you're tied up with the cap, and you go give him like $200 million, 180, whatever it was a massive overpay. You think they'd rather have OG like in the blink of an eye, or like any guys like that you could draft, not tie up $30 million of.
I mean,
that's where they
the
messed up.
NBA, and again, we see it all. The NBA is obviously going towards a situation where they're turning into a more of a long distance shooting league, where they the inside game isn't becoming as relevant as it was.
Yeah.
So guys like Simmons, for example, that's why again, Simmons not being able to shoot anywhere beyond like the 6 or 8 foot line, it makes him a liability because teams don't have to really guard him on the outside. And again, he's a hell of an athlete. He's explosive as hell at times. But that's a problem, and that's why certain guys aren't in that proposition. So you kind of pick your poison. I think Embiid's the better player, but I don't know. Again,
you're not going to change your mentality though. That's the thing. You can work on a jump shot, but if you're not a leader and you've shown signs of weakness round after round,
you know who they need in there that I would put in there, who got unjustly fired was Nate McMillan. I put Nate McMillan in there, or another hard-nosed guy that'll really like work those guys to the core. Because I think Nate was fired incorrectly. I don't know what I guess they probably weren't thinking a sweep, but man, he just lost Sabonis. Oladipo broke his leg. I don't know what you were expecting. They did better than a lot of people thought they were going to do. So I think they need a hard-nosed coach that'll really push them in there. Because right now, again, Brett Brown wasn't in. And I think everyone knew that Brett Brown wasn't in for a while. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. Obviously, from I thought they would make the championship to getting swept in the first round. Pretty insane.
The Nate thing, I thought there was talk that he was going to get an extension at one point.
They did give him an extension. They did give him. They gave him
one, I thought, a month before, right?
They gave him an extension 2 weeks ago, and then they fired him yesterday. That's insane.
Was that just a severance pack? That's why I was confused. I had to check. I was like, I'm almost certain they gave him an extension last time we talked.
They gave him an extension.
And they fired him like a month later, pre-bubble and post-bubble.
No, I think they gave him an extension 2 weeks ago, and then they fired him yesterday. I don't know what the hell was the point of giving them an extension when I guess because they got embarrassed because they got swept, but I don't know what you were expecting.
Nate McMillan agreed to a contract extension just 2 weeks ago. Then the Pacers fired him. Yeah, it was a 1-year contract extension.
Oh, and then but even so, don't give why would you do that knowing that you want to fire the guy in a couple weeks anyway?
When, like you said, you're missing 3 of your best 4 players, or like guys that are hobbled. Yeah. Oladipo's coming off a torn quad. Like that's not going to be.
Yeah, there's no.
Sabonis is out. Yeah, Miles Turner got $90 million. What has he done? Right. These are the questions I'm talking about when you're building a team, and that's why getting back to the Raptors, this is so important because It's not a problem for the Raptors because they have character guys, and that's what we kind of need to speak on too. Those are like, there's nobody on this team that plays minutes that you're, and even guys don't play minutes, that you're looking at and saying, I think he's a problem. Whereas you look at all the teams we talked about, really, anybody that I'm missing?
I mean, well, again, I think his defense is solid. I think Rondé's a little bit of again, he's a bench guy. He's on a one-year deal. He can't dribble to save his life.
No, for sure. But I'm talking about character issues.
Character issues, no.
No, but there's nobody on the team.
No characters.
And the culture's a big thing.
You can tell the
they like each other.
guys like each other, and that's a big thing.
And that's been like that since Amir Johnson was here, like 8 years ago.
There'll be a tough out for any situation, whether it's like, again, I think Dwight Howard said it would be a Lakers-Raptors final.
Last year, I remember Golden State, it was Durant that called the finals against the Raptors as well. I remember after they swept.
Against their capabilities, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But again, they have to. Again, it's when this is where the stars and the light's going to be on them to see what they do against very capable teams without that quote unquote superstar player, which is what Kawhi again was last year.
Similar to what Indiana and Miami are. Miami before, I guess they got Butler, but Indiana was the same thing. To be honest, Boston, I know that Tatum's really good. I don't know if he's a superstar yet, but these are guys that they don't have like a top 5 player in the league, right? Exactly. And I think everybody else is in the same kind of category with them.
And I guess Giannis, can be the difference maker. But like I said, Nurse did a pretty good job last year. I think they'll learn a few things.
Yeah. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up on Philly, Raptors, anybody?
No, I mean the Philly situation. Depending on who they hire as a coach, I don't know.
How much of an impact it can actually
have. How much they can do.
Is
Elton Brand, I think Elton Brand might be on his last legs there too if that doesn't improve. The process did not work out. I mean,
that's what I want to talk about.
They made a lot of mistakes. The Markelle Fultz was a big mistake.
Joey Okafor too.
They could have had Tatum, Okafor, Nerlens Noel. They made a lot of mistakes with those drafts. And that's basically like you gave Fultz away for a song when again you knew that he might have had some problems with his shooting, and you drafted a guy that they already had Simmons, so that didn't even make any.
But because Simmons couldn't shoot, they wanted a point guard. They thought that Simmons was going to be able to play on the ball, Fultz maybe off the ball. This is what I mean. And then I had also heard that Fultz had gone to a Boston workout because he worked with the top 3 teams. Boston did not really see anything they liked, and that's when they were like, okay, we know that you're going to take Fultz number 1 anyways. Let us trade down. And they took them to the cleaner. I think it was like 2 or 3 firsts to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And again, if you had Tatum, replace Tobias Harris with Tatum, and the Sixers would have been crazy.
Title contenders, legit title contenders, right?
So again, you make mistakes,
and it derails a franchise.
Again, sometimes Simmons goes number 1, Pascal goes 27. Then they're not.
That's tough. That's tough though because nobody at 27 is going number 1. But when you're taking in the top 3, you've got to nail your picks. And that's why teams like the Raptors continue to be successful, haven't had a top 5 pick in how long, and they nail everything they do.
Sometimes we can go back to that LeBron draft, like
Darko.
If the Pistons had actually taken one of those guys, like whether it be Bosh, Wade, or Carmelo, like I know they were on the decline because a lot of those guys were getting older, or they had just won something and then they had to pick. Like had they actually got another start, that Pistons team might have been able to roll.
Free agents want to come.
And Darko was a disaster, and then you had 3-4 other guys that would probably be Hall of Famers. So well, and then you look at Luka too. The Suns could be completely different.
The Suns, the Kings took the Suns took the
DeAndre Ayton.
Sorry, not the Suns. The Kings ended up taking the power forward from Duke that I'm drawing a blank on. Bagley, who I thought was going to be, like a solid, 18 and 10.
Luka's level.
No, you know what I mean? Not on that level. Just another good potential all-star power. Like, it's not a bust, but like you look at that, and even Ayton. I saw Ayton. I'm like, it's 2019 or whenever they made that pick, 2018, 2019, whatever the draft was. What centers in the league, like legit centers, not like Greek freak? What centers are like that good anymore?
Because here's the thing, they had that. They probably had that
the
situation where
anxiety.
Luka's going to be another Darko, and how is he going to really adapt to the NBA?
That's what makes and breaks teams. You got to take.
Stephen A. said that's a bad white boy right there. Yeah, he's a hell of a player. But besides that, I'm
looking forward to the Celtics.
The
see how the LA
East is going to be pretty much the 4 teams that I thought were going to be there. So the West. Again, if the Nuggets lose in the first round, that'll probably be a bit of a shock.
Utah's going to be a matchup for anybody just because they can defend as well. Gobert being there, right?
But if the Nuggets go down again, that might cause some problems in the management situation there.
All right, guys, we're looking forward to the series. Good luck, Raptors. Good luck to nobody else, just about the Raptors. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll come back with the Celtics Raptors series at that point. Have a good week.